Alright, hello. Today will be a more interesting video for the average viewer because we are showcasing my top weapons for 2025, which means that these will be the weapons that I use the most and I deem the best in 2025. And these three picks are interesting because, as you can see, it's a Stahlta, Coda Pox, and Darksword. And I'm not picking them because I am different. I'm not picking them because I wanna avoid the meta or whatever. I'm not a meta slave. No, I'm simply picking them because I think they're the best. I could easily pick the Magistar here, I have a God Roll Ribbon for it, and I could easily pick the Kuva Nuker here, which I have a God Roll Ribbon for it too, and I could easily pick the Torrid here and showcase it with a Wisp build that makes it incredibly strong, but no. These are simply my three best picks, and these are simply the things that I deem to be the best in 2025, and they are simply the best to me because of the amount of utility, damage, and ease of use that they have combined. So, I'm gonna showcase them to the best of my abilities, so how good they can be, and hopefully you can give them a try, because despite these weapons, for my opinion, being the best in 2025, they have a combined usage rate of less than 1%. The Stahlta has a usage rate of 0.33, if I remember correctly. The Coda Pox has a usage rate of 0.3, and the Darksword had a usage rate of 0.07%. So let's start off from the top to bottom, and we'll start with a Stahlta. For the Stahlta, we're gonna use this build right here in order to showcase it. This is by far the best build you can do without a Riven. I do have a Raven if I want to use it right here, but for the sake of the video, I'm not gonna do it. And Hash is here in case you want to be a bit more sneaky and get some easy kills by using the 8-Viz from Wisp passive, but we can simply use Vigilante supplies if we want more damage, and that's also really good. So, for the Stahlta, because we will need a primer alongside it to make it the best possible, I'm gonna use the Coda Pox with this build, where the Riven mode replaces a simple Frostbite mode. So if you don't want to use a Riven, you simply do this, and it's the exact same thing since it's a primer. But I have 6 Rivens for the Coda Pox, or actually I have 7 Rivens for the Coda Pox, and I'm gonna use them. There is a fissure. Great. Why is there a fissure every time I need to go to sleep? I hate this game. Why does it do that to me? Every time I need to go to sleep, oh, there is a disruption fissure. It's like my favorite mission in the game. Yeah, speaking of which, yeah. The best and most popular missions in the game, first of all, by far Void Cascade Fissure is the most popular, and then it's probably this. You know, people speedrun this mission, people run this mission to get prime parts and Kuva and all that. There's also Kuva Disruption, which is the best Kuva farm in the game when it comes in a fissure. And yeah, very cool. Disclaimer for the comment section: any questions about the dev stream that you will ask me, I will not answer, but I will say that the dev stream had some really good stuff showcased, but the most excited I am for the stuff showcased is the mention of the new Kuva system and how the old relics for the Kuva relics will be available for Riven Slivers. I will showcase that I have an incredible amount of Riven Slivers, close to 13,000. So having a way to actually spend them and do something with them is really nice. So, why the Stahlta? What's good about it? Well, first of all, it is multiplicative gun CO on both firing modes, which is its most incredible thing. Multiplicative gun CO on both firing modes is absolutely unreal. And if you don't know what a gun CO is, or what multiplicative gun CO is for that matter, I will leave a link in the description so you will understand a bit more what we mean by a term like this and what it means for your gameplay. But if we go ahead and prime this guy and shoot him, we will see 278 million damage, which, if you're not aware, a level cap Demolist will have around 170 million health. Which, yeah, you will stand correct, that absolutely kills the level cap unit in one shot. And it will kill, obviously, the Thrax unit in one shot as well, very easily. The Thrax unit is way weaker than this guy, so even if you do Void Cascade and use this exactly like that, it will absolutely triumph. So, very good. Really good way to use it. For the normal mobs themselves, this weapon has a bit of puncture to its primary fire, and since its primary fire is also multiplicative against CO, shooting the enemy and getting more than 3 statuses onto them allows for your actual salts to deal a ton of damage. Plus, it can be used from stealth very easily, and having a stealth Warframe or a Warframe that increases fire rate boosts this weapon even further. But the only real issue that this weapon has is the fire rate, so if you really need the more fire rate and you don't have a Warframe like Wisp or Gauss or Harrow or anyone that gives fire rate, you can either simply remove a mod for it. Most people will remove the Bane mod in my opinion, which is absolutely fine. Or you can run Arcane Acceleration, which would be my pick for it. Arcane Acceleration is one of the most underused arcanes in the game and one of the best ones, and it's absolutely great. The other issue that I can see people having with this weapon is that you have to hit a headshot. Some people aren't good at aiming, but in general, aiming this game is extremely easy. People or enemies just kind of stand in a predictable straight line and you can just shoot directly head level and their head will be shot regardless of what you do. So in general, crazy weapon right here. If you haven't tried it, feel free to try it. It's not very hard to get, and it's also very strong. It's also MR 10 only, so if you have Mastery rank 10, you can either farm this weapon by doing the Granum Voids, or you can simply buy all the parts you need for 10 plat for the entire set. It's that cheap. And then get the blueprint from Jackal, which is the boss on Venus. Simple as that. So yes, the Stahlta is easily my top pick for the best primary weapon in the game. It always has been. This weapon has been buffed more and more as time passes. Either be it through new mods getting added to the game like primary RQT, or being from the directly buffing its Riven disposition or similar stuff to that. It is an incredible weapon. And I think everyone should have it, everyone should try it at least once. And you know, if you don't like it, that's fine. You can return to what you're using. You're not wasting your time here. I fell in love with this weapon because of its sound. The skin that I'm using costs 1 credit in the market, so you can simply get it. It's free. And even if you don't have the skin, the sound is still absolutely incredible without the skin. And yeah, just a crazy strong gun overall that you guys should absolutely give it a shot. Up next, we're gonna move to the Coda Pox. The Coda Pox is one of the most insane multi-tool weapons in the entire game. You can do so many builds with it that simply one Coda Pox was not enough for me. I needed 2. Because this absolutely cooks with anything. Any build you might put onto this, it is good. But today, I will only showcase one build, and the build that I think is the best. Because this build, for example, will need a Vira Riven. This build is very specific to hidden inherits, but I can showcase it a bit so you can see its power. But this build can be done without a Riven mode and without anything, and it's simply incredible. If you don't have a Riven mode, simply replace this mode and get gas onto your weapon, and just leave it like this. Since I do have the Riven mode, I will use it. This is easily the best type of Riven mode I can get onto this weapon, and this is easily my favorite weapon, so I will use it. But it's absolutely insane. So, with Nova, you can easily use this, get yourself a Nautilus, use, you know, not the Verglass, because that's gonna get all the kills, obviously. To showcase this though, I will not be using Contagious Bones at all, so that Verglass basically does Cordon every time. Although, if you do run if you do run Nautilus, please make sure that you actually do use Contagious Bones to take advantage of the weapon to its fullest. I'm just doing this to showcase the weapon to its full capabilities and no other reason. And we're gonna use Kaya for this one, because Kaya takes advantage of this build the most out of every weapon, every Warframe, sorry, because the simple thing that you do with this Riven is you find a specific room that you can abuse, and then you shoot the entrance of that room, and people walk to the entrance of that room and they die. It's simple as that. And it can be done in a lot of tile sets. There is a void tile set that I will try to get, but, well, I got good news. We actually found the room. Now we need to kill a bit of enemies so they can get to that room a bit quicker. Alright, oh, he actually dropped a orb. I will need that. Oh, amazing. Alright, perfect. So here is the room. Simply set up, speed up the enemies. Speeding up the enemies makes the Nautilus pull enemies faster towards you. And as you can see, enemies getting pulled will just fall directly in front of me, and they will simply die to the Coda Pox gas cloud all the time. This right here is easily the best room for this setup, and it can get you upwards of 350 kills per minute. It is legit crazy. The best kills per minute that I've got from doing this is around 370, which is absolutely nuts. So yes, a lot of setup, especially because Nova Nautilus, and Nova Nautilus is already very, very strong, but overall, this does make for a ridiculous blender setup almost. So yeah, we're gonna stay here. Reminder that this started around the 1 minute mark, so we're gonna do all 5 minutes and see how we did. We need to take care of that Eximus. Great, he's dead. And yeah, just keep going. Nova's Molecular Prime is a great ability that inherits a lot of stuff from things like Zada's Whisper. You can see Molecular Prime inheriting things like secondary Fortifier if you want, if you use it for example on your Argon. You can see it inherit melee influence from your melees sometimes. And a lot of other neat stuff. It's a pretty crazy ability. Yeah, overall, this is obviously very low effort but very satisfying to look at. And with Nova, this is easily one of the strongest things you can do as a setup in the entire game. Some other candidates for Nova weapons are the Okina Prime. The Okina Prime are easily some of the best. Some Zo weapons because of the arcane of what is it called? Exodia Force, I think it's called Exodia Force. And many others, but in general, yes, this is an absolutely ridiculous setup right here. And because the Pox Cloud lingers and keeps doing status procs, which is in this case gonna be electric and gas, and of course the Zada's Whisper proc, this just keeps happening and the craziness just keeps going. So, really strong. The best part is that simply hitting an enemy with the Pox Cloud, since they're so grouped together, every enemy is gonna get the Pox Cloud anyway, so this is an insane weapon when you want to do tons of grouped damage or simply really high single target damage. Because you can go for something like Hidden Herit, you can go for something like a Primer, you could do something for simply raw damage or something to just abuse the multi-gun seal of the weapon. You could go something to fight damage attenuation, since the weapon has a ton of procs at once, and that's a really good fighter of damage attenuation. Or you could make it so that you just chill, like I'm doing. I'm not even gonna focus Torment, I'm just gonna like keep doing this. I think Torment will simply die by at some point randomly teleporting Gep to the gas cloud like that. And yeah, he's really not gonna have fun when she does that. Yeah, 5 minutes have been reached. We have 1227 kills. So that's kind of in 4 minutes. So I think it is around a bit higher than 300 kills per minute. 1200 kills in 4 minutes, yeah. Just a tiny bit higher than 300 kills per minute. So yeah, a great setup, showcasing how good the Coda Pox is, how good the Nautilus Companion is in combination with Nova Prime, and how good Nova Prime is in general. A 3-in-1 special that is an absolute cakewalk for survival missions like this one, and it is absolutely ridiculous. It is so broken. For the Coda Pox, we're gonna show one more thing, and that is gonna be the Hidden Inherit Coda Pox, because I think this is something that I can explain really quick, and something that a lot of people may not know and will find it useful. So first of all, in case you don't know, once you use the Balance Override, you pay the 20 plat or you use the Balance Override itself. You don't need to use it every time to change the element. Once you use it once, you can change the element for free every single time. So in case you were wondering, that is how it works. Now for Hidden Inherit, hit procs work in a weird way, because unlike every other damage over time effect that has their own type of duration and their own type of damage, hit procs kinda combine into one single damage instance, and simply applying a hit proc to a target that is already hit proc just refreshes the duration and adds another hit proc on top of the other ones. It doesn't simply get a new hit proc that ends the previous ones and the new one appears only. It refreshes the current ones as well, and they all combine together. Now this creates a mechanic we call Hidden Inherit, where for the first hit proc specifically, if you have a lot of multipliers that it can increase the damage of that hit proc, all of these multipliers will go directly for all hit procs that are, you know, after that one hit proc. So you can use weapons without anything too crazy in terms of hit damage or any crazy investment of hit modes or, you know, hit elementals, whatever, and they will do some really nutty damage. And I will showcase that. So this is gonna be the build for the Hit Inherit Pox. The Riven mode specifically has hit and damage to Grineer, because this is a Hit Inherit build to use in disruption missions versus the Grineer and versus the disruption targets. For this, we're gonna use a simple Ignis Wraith, and we're not gonna use anything too crazy on the Ignis Wraith. I'm gonna go for Duration, Rifle Aptitude, and what else should we do? We can do some crit. So let's do Hammer Shot, let's do Vital Sense, and also let's do Critical Blow. Great! So this is gonna be our Ignis Wraith build for the Disruption build, and we're gonna go back to the original Wisp that I was using, and we are gonna simply showcase its capabilities. So let's go ahead on Kappa, this time without the fissure, so we can see the weapon in action itself. And because I don't really have anything to, you know, fight the normal enemies with, because the Ignis Wraith will not be that great, I will use Margan for a bit, and if that doesn't work, then I will use the Dark Sword for a bit, but I'm not really gonna showcase the Dark Sword's capabilities here, because it will simply not showcase the biggest and best thing about the weapon, which is the status procs it has. You will see. Oh, I also still have the no lose, which, you know, it's fine. But oh, oops, wrong key. Crazy 4 damage by Burst Laser Prime, in case someone was wondering in the previous mission if it actually helped or it was, you know, the Scopium. It is really copium. The art gun I'm using is the Morka, but it doesn't have any type of arcanes because it is wearing the dexterity arcanes. Alright, the key has dropped. Let's pick it up. So, for the target, for the first target specifically, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna try my best to kill him with the Ignis Wraith without using the Hidden Herald mechanic, and we'll see how long that takes. And I'm not sure if I can even kill him, but well, let's see. Yeah. As I said, I'm not sure if I can even kill him. You know what? Let's activate Eclipse. Maybe it helps. Okay. Yeah, he died. After a long time and after a lot of effort, he actually died. So, you know, not bad. Now, let's take this and go ahead and do this, but this time we're gonna abuse Hidden Herald. And the exact same thing. And I will try to not have Eclipse to not make it unfair. So 3, 2, 1. So for this Coda Pox, I am using a mod that increases my damage for the last bullets. So now Hidden Herald is activated, and as you can see, immediately our damage is way higher. That wasn't even close. So yeah, Hidden Herald is goated. All of the multipliers from the Pox, which is the hit modes, the Bane modes, Pistol Elementalist, and Synth Charge. I think it's called Synth Charge, right? The last mode. Let me check. Yes, Synth Charge. So this mode that gives 200% final bonus damage, which is multiplicative to everything else. Pistol Elementalist, the Scorch Heated Charge and Riven mode, and the Prime Expel Grenier. They all go directly onto that first hit proc and enhances every other hit proc that you might put after with any other hit weapon. So even taking something like this is easily enough to absolutely destroy a base steel path Demolist, which normally this takes so long to kill them that you don't really get to shoot them almost. So yes, the Coda Pox is the best Hidden Herald weapon in the entire game at doing this because of the Synth Charge mode on it. And then it also has this build, which is for survival to 150 kills per minute. You have the primer build if you want to make it a primer and deal a lot of status effects. You have an Acuity build. You can actually build this for Acuity and prime with your primary weapon to kill Demolists very, very quickly. You can do Hit Enervate with a Hit Progenitor to make the best overall use build for the weapon, where you get a viral ribbon, unrolled or unranked rather, and just get as much hit modes onto it as possible. You can do this without the viral ribbon, but you know, you will miss out on the Scorch mode, which adds a lot of status chance at hit damage, so it's gonna be way worse, or you lose out on multi-shot from Lethal Torrent. Either way, it is gonna be worse if you don't use this, but overall, it's an incredible weapon with tons of builds to go through and tons of setups, so I absolutely love it. For the last one, we have the Dark Sword, and for the Dark Sword, I do have a Riven. I have rolled a whopping 600 times almost to try and find the perfect Riven, which I haven't found yet, but I'm simply gonna use this Rivenless build right here. This is gonna be what we will be using, and I don't think it will take me so long to showcase the Dark Sword, because first of all, I already know what it does, and most of you already know what it does as well. But for you guys that don't know, and for you guys that are saying that it's copium, use the Coda Meyer, or use the Magistar, use this, use that, I will show you just how good this weapon is in a simple mission. Which I selected the wrong one. I'm sorry, I needed a Fisher mission. So we have Warframe here. This will do just fine. It won't stay here for long. The best thing about the Dark Sword and why it works is its slam attack, its heavy slam attack, has a guaranteed toxin proc, and it also has enough status chance that it also inflicts a gas proc at the exact same time. And this results in some crazy damage numbers across the board and some crazy high gas procs and toxin procs across the board. Now, how strong are these procs, you might ask? Well, let's wait for enemies to get a corruption buff somewhere close so I can slam them, and I will show you. Hopefully these guys happen to get it. Okay. So. Oh. Well, I got it anyway. In case you missed it, that was the damage cap right there. And in case you missed it, I'm gonna showcase it again. Hopefully these guys get the corruption. Okay, never mind. Alright, well, enemies are walking to the gas proc and dying. That's, yeah, my fault. Alright. Well, the game absolutely shut itself, and we got another damage cap into a damage cap. So, yeah. I will go to the e.log file and find out for you, and your pleasure only, how much damage that gas proc actually was, so we can look at it together. Reminder that for this damage cap, I didn't use any Riven mods, I didn't use any Wrathful Advance, I didn't use Eclipse, I didn't use any damaging abilities, I didn't use anything. I simply hit middle mouse button, or for me side mouse button, since I have my heavy attack on that one, and it did that. So, if we check e.log real quick, and scroll up. I know you guys can see it, but I'll pull it up on the screen once I find it. Well, I wasn't lying. I did find it. Right here is where the game lagged with a log bug saying suspiciously high damage. So that is very funny to see every time, and this is why the game also lagged a lot. In case you noticed, that was the actual game lagging, and that was because the gas proc that we inflicted was for 5.2 billion damage. 5.2 billion damage, and as you can see, the gas proc will continue to hit enemies and then deal 4.6 billion damage to that guy and that guy. And then these things happen, and then 4.2 billion damage to the next guy, and the next guy, and 5.3 billion damage to that guy, and that guy, and that guy. 5.4 billion damage to this guy, and 3.9 billion damage to that guy. This is on one slam, by the way. This is the same slam proc. And 17 billion. Okay, 17 billion toxin damage on the target that I actually hit. And then we have all these very high one-shot damage. Yep. And it just keeps going. I'm just scrolling, and this all happens in the same exact second. Almost the same frame. If you can see on the left. Yeah. Yeah. So yes, Dark Sword does that. Magistar doesn't. Simple as that. This is the best melee weapon in the game for me, hands down. No Nair modes, no Eclipse, no Wrathful Advance, no crazy swords, just middle click of the weapon. I'm not gonna sugarcoat it. You guys, you know, feel free to disagree with me. Feel free to say that the Coda Mire does that and better or something. Or, you know, whatever you want to say to me after saying that. Because this is obviously a live recording. I didn't just cherry pick this mission out of everything. I just literally went in, did it one time, and I got this result. But, you know, feel free to disagree with me. I'm all ears, and I would love to disagree with you in the comments as well. But in case you're wondering, once again, these are my top 3 weapons of 2025, definitely. So Stahlta with this build, Coda Pox with ideally this build, but you can also do this build, or this build, or this build, or this build, or even this build if you're feeling pistol accuracy for some reason and you're crazy like me. And you can also use the Dark Sword with this build and without a Riven mode even, because you actually don't need it. Even though it has a Riven disposition of 5 and getting a Riven mode for it is absolutely crazy and deals even crazier damage close to the trillions, but you know, that's for you to decide if you want to do it. Thank you very much for watching another video of mine, and I will see you on the next one.